If you are new to FPV, you might be saying, hey Stu, can you just give me an overview of which goggles should I get in 2026? There's lots of different versions, whether you're going DJI HD0, WalkNow, Ascent, Open IPC, the new P1 system. Which one should I get? Can you give us a bit of a breakdown on all of them? Yes, absolutely, I can. So if we head over here, I have built this specifically for you. This is my website, DIY FPV. Got a bunch up the top here. The only one that I'm missing is currently the P1 system or the ArtLink system, which I will be adding soon, hopefully sometime later this week. And this right here is going to give you a visual comparison. And we're just going to break it down, some of the pros and cons, and also look at the prices of each one of these. So at least you can have a base understanding, a quick overview of each one. We're probably going to spend about a minute on each system. So the beauty about analog is it is the cheapest point of entry. You can get some really cheap box goggles, and it usually or typically has some lower latency. You don't have to have one complete ecosystem for everything. So whether you get the same VTX or whether you get like a Foxy VTX and a Fat Shark pair of goggles, it's all going to work. It's all going to talk to each other. It's relatively simple. There is heaps of different VTX options, so you can choose the right VTX for your craft. Everything about analog is pretty amazing, except for the image right here. So this is the image that you can expect. Yeah, the image quality of analog, I would give it about a 5. It's not very good. It's not very clear. It handles breakup in kind of an interesting way. But look, it's an okay choice, and especially if you want to fly around whoops, it's not terrible. This is HD0. And you can see the image quality is a little bit better. Some people refer to it as spicy analog. The big things that are impressive about this one is it has extremely low latency, relatively comparable to analog, which means if you're going to the races, you're really going to like this. They have a lot of the same advantages that analog has, but it's just a slightly better picture. And some of the cons or things that aren't great about this one is you're paying a lot of money. HD0 is a relatively expensive system. They have the most expensive goggles on the market if you want to get their top-end goggles. And also, there is limited VTX options. And when it comes to range and penetration, HD0 doesn't perform as well as some of the other systems. And really, the big one for me, though, is why I don't fly HD0 is I'm not terribly latency sensitive, and I do prefer a better-looking image. But yeah, here's a comparison between analog and HD0. Now moving along, the next system we could probably talk about, this is going to be WalkNow. So you can straight off the bat see the step up in resolution. Some things I like about WalkNow, they're kind of like the mid-level. They have a wide range of VTXs. You can do some very far long range things with this. They are a digital solution. All of these other ones as well, they all need to be in the same ecosystem. So you can't just mix and match goggles or anything. They have some budget goggles that you can get. They offer, I would say, maybe like an 8 out of 10 in terms of image quality. You are going to feel the latency more than the HD0 or the analog system, though. They're just, the image quality is fine. They're like a solid mid-range, like they sort of do everything, but they don't master anything and excel the best at any one thing. They're like just a solid, good choice. I'd give them like an 8 out of 10 when it comes for just a general flying experience. They have some cheap goggles as well. So you can get a set of goggles of these for like $199. They've got some really small VTXs, a lot of different air units you can put them in. And yeah, that's about it. They're not suitable for racing though, because they don't have the low latency typically of the other HD0 and the analog systems. Now moving along, the next one we can talk about, and this is the Ascent system, which is actually made by the same company. The pros of this one, extremely cheap. This is like $150 for or like maybe a $200 set, but a set of goggles and a VTX is really, really cheap. It's really small form factor, and I think the image actually looks okay when it's still, but you're going to get a little bit of ghosting or stuttering when you're flying around. I don't get great penetration with it. It's a very new system. You don't know how far it's going to go. And when it comes to the VRX, I didn't like that. I didn't like the way that it is set up. So I don't really recommend the Ascent system, even though it is really, really cheap for what you get. It's not my favorite. It's not my recommendation. The biggest advantage of it is that it's cheap. And look, it does look okay if you have a look at a comparison here between a what's this, like a $200 versus $600. You would say, oh, this one looks significantly better, but it's not as reliable. I don't like flying with Ascent is sort of where I'm up to. They have a lot of work. The system might be able to do some stuff in the future, but it's not my recommendation. Next, we have DJI, which This image looks a little bit dark here, but it is what it is. I haven't altered any of these images. I think this is my favorite system to fly with. It's really expensive. Some of the pros about this, the image quality is good, the penetration's good, the latency I have no issues with. It's not as good as analog or HD0. It's just an all-round solid system. You only have 2 real VTX choices with the Pro and the Lite, so you can't put it in some tiny craft like Whoops. However, a big problem with this one is stock levels. If you're in the USA especially, trying to find stock with this can be a little bit difficult, and everything needs to stay in that DJI ecosystem as well. And it's not cheap. Like we had a look, it's like $700 for a pair of goggles here if you're going to fly around with DJI. This is my system of choice, and it's probably the gold standard. When it comes to image quality, I'd give this one a 10 out of 10. Moving along, the next one that we're going to look at is OpenIPC. OpenIPC has a wide range of quality, not issues, but variances. This is, I don't think, really recommended for anybody in normal FPV. This is more for like projects. You want to tinker, you want to try an open source project, which means this might be able to work with some other things in the future in different manufacturers. It is not ready for release yet. It is not recommended, but it is not a dead system. It has some people really pushing and working and trying to make something amazing for the community. There's a bit of an image, like a very orangey image in terms of all the ones that I've ever flown. Some of the things, the pros about it, the price, it's open source, and the things that I don't like about it, and the biggest one is just reliability. I can't fly this system, and it has like some issues with breakup, or like if the image loses for like a second or two and then comes back, that's no good. I'm going to crash my drone in that time. So I just do not have reliability when I'm flying around with OpenIPC. It may be better now, but as it currently stands, it wouldn't be my recommendation either. This is more for people who want to try an interesting project. They like to tinker with all the, you can really get in and do some of your own work and tailor the system to perform in like whatever way specifically suits you. But it's not comparable to, say, DJI or any of that sort of stuff. And then finally, we actually have one with this goggle here, which you can get as just the VTX and this goggle. And this is from Beta FPV. And this is actually my recommendation for cheap, getting into the hobby, like some cheap comparison. I'm going to put a little picture up here as well. It looks similar to Ascent. It has about the same amount of latency as well. It is almost identical when it comes to price, but it was just a much more reliable system when it comes to flying. The biggest problem with this new P1 system, which you're going to hear me talk about, is there is no other way to get that image on a headset other than using the one that comes from Beta FPV. So you have to use this headset, and frankly, that is not a good headset. I don't like flying around with that. So all the other goggles have great headsets. The P1 probably has the worst headset. That's just it's how it is currently. We don't know what's going to be in the future, but there is a lot of different comparisons, and there is no perfect goggle. And remember, it's not about having the best gear. It's about having the best time. And it's good to have all these different options. So if I put that other option up here, what's that? We've got 7 solid choices that somebody could say, hey, I'm flying with this system. We used to only have analog, and now we've got 7 real competitors. It's, low cost, low latency, high cost, low latency, better image, mid-range on everything, good image, decent latency, good VTX options, but, getting more expensive. Latency, reliability issues, good image, good price. And for DJI, we've got high price, high quality image, high penetration, high range. OpenIPC, we have low price, open source community, unreliable link, and an average image. And the P1 has a good image, great price, okay latency, but terrible headset to go with it. So not many hardware options to go with it. There is no best system. All of these have strengths and weaknesses that one of the other systems is going to do something better. All of these systems beat each other at something. Even if you look at like Ascent and the P1, well, the Ascent has a dedicated VRX now. Even though I don't like it, that's still a better option than being stuck with the base goggles. So there is no system on here that is best at everything. If there was a system that offered insane visuals, insane price, insane latency, and great compatibility with VRX and also headset options, and opened up different VTX options for Whoops all the way up to high-end long range, that'd be it. No one would buy anything else, but that doesn't exist. So if you're asking yourself what is the best way to buy a set of goggles is, what type of flying do I want to do? Am I flying around whoops? Am I flying around long range? Am I going to be going to the races? Do I care about image quality? And am I going to be freestyling through the trees? Do I care about comfort and want a quality set of goggles? These are all the questions that you need to ask yourself.